Hello and welcome everyone to Hevo's Data Bytes and Insights webinar. I'm Cade Winter, Director of Sales Engineering here at Hevo Data, and I'll be your host today. And joining me is Puneet Gupta, our Senior Vice President of Product. In today's webinar, we'll be covering strategies for modernizing enterprise data architecture and how to approach driving efficiency, security, and agility in your data stack. We'll also take you through a brief demo of our platform and showcase how easy it is to get Hevo up and running. Finally, we'll have a few of our product managers available to answer any Q&As throughout the webinar. So please drop those questions in the Q&A tab at the bottom as they come up. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Puneet.
Thank you, Cade. So let's get right into it. So first, we're going to start on a brief primer. What is considered legacy data infrastructure and its challenges? I might be preaching to the choir. Some of you may have a little bit more information than I do, but just to set the context of what problem we're trying to solve, we'll talk about the problem first. So what is legacy data infrastructure? So I can start with a story of one of my customers. So we have a customer running a custom-built ERP application on Oracle, and they're still on Oracle 12c, and running on a bare metal Dell blade. They have no memory slots left to upgrade. It is a business-critical application powering their warehouse inventory systems. So everyone needs inventory reports, and running them on the production database has its own set of challenges, and it puts workload on the ERP that it's not capable of handling. So the options are pretty limited. They can't upgrade naturally for obvious reasons because they're still on Oracle 12c. For some, they're probably using things which prevents them from doing an upgrade, or it's very hard. So that's what I would define a legacy system, where you are running on an old version. It cannot scale. It cannot. It's self-managed, and you cannot upgrade or get newer versions of that. So what are the challenges faced by? So one of the big thing I mentioned was that when you are running legacy data infrastructure, your biggest issue is scale. The workloads that we see right now are nothing that one could imagine 15 years ago, right? So even if you had the resources to invest, you would still not be able to meet the business demand for data on these legacy systems. And that's the biggest challenge. And then, of course, you have to spend money maintaining these. So you are pouring in money into these systems. You are spending quite a bit, but you're still not able to meet business demands, increasing business demands for data and data use. So what does data modernization actually mean? So let's delve into that. There are lots of technical answers to this question. What does data modernization actually mean? I'll take a more business spin to this. It's basically adapting to the speed and scale of business operations, driving efficiency and innovation. So if we can actually scale our systems to meet our business demands, that's basically what a data modernization would look like. And this would entail, many different things. You could, I'm going to double click into that, but without taking a technology answer, I'm taking what it would mean from a business impact. All right, so why make the move to the cloud? Again, this is preaching to the choir. Most of you already probably know this because you already have investments in cloud. The biggest one I would say is, and I would date myself by making by saying this, that back in early 2000, We were all planning massive upgrades to our Oracle infrastructure, and so that we could handle Siebel upgrades. And then on came Salesforce, and they blew our minds by saying everybody runs the same latest and greatest version. There's no upgrades anymore. And to me, that's one of the biggest advantage of actually using a service as opposed to doing self-hosted infrastructure. Is you never have to worry about being left on Oracle 11i or 12c. You don't have to keep pouring money onto it, even though you know it's not going to scale to meet your demands. And that's why you move to cloud, because one thing the cloud service vendors guarantee is that you will be able to upgrade, it will scale, and you get all the latest bells and whistles as the cloud vendors add features and functionality. So biggest reasons is operational efficiency, cost savings, and scale to actually upgrade to the cloud. So, what does use cases to solve with data modernization? So, one of the biggest ones out here would be real-time data processing. You're not dependent on legacy ETLs. You can actually use the many messaging infrastructures that are available in different hyperscalers. You can actually do a full customer 360 using a customer data platform. Machine learning and AI are the obvious ones, analytics. And one of the things that cloud with its cheap storage enables is archival and compliance. So that is something that I remember back in the day, we used to pay millions to EMC and NetApp, and now we can do it on the pennies by using blob storage or any glacier storage on the web. So how do you make the move? So as part of your cloud data adoption journey, there are many phases that a typical customer goes through. The first one is most people actually sign up for a warehouse or a data lake. They set up their warehouses, and then they enable data pipelines to replicate data from the source systems, from their operational databases, which is what we're going to show you today, how you can replicate data from a legacy Oracle and easily move data to a cloud warehouse. And then basically comes you start using the data, so you realize that you need to do some data modeling, data transformations, feature engineering, if you're using AI applications. And then basically once the data is modeled and available, you share it with your stakeholders and set up the use case. Your stakeholders actually set up the reporting and visualizations and dashboarding and ML models and such. During this journey, based on how sophisticated a customer or how big the customer is, you may implement data observability, data quality, um, data sharing rules around data security and data governance as well. So you may bring in how big your warehouse is or your data lake is. You may bring in a data catalog, for example. Not everybody needs all of these, but it's based on how mature. And eventually, everybody is going to ask for a data quality tool eventually. But it's where you are in your journey and cloud data warehouse and data lake adoption. So now, how do you pick the right cloud-based data tools? So from our experience, what we suggest is basically that um, look for tools that you can start using in minutes, right? Only charge tools that only charge for what you use instead of trapping you in expensive contracts. And one of the things with usage-based pricing and cloud warehouses, it's very easy to get carried away, and suddenly you'll see a spike in your bill. So also look for tools that help you optimize your cost, that will help you govern what your usage looks like. So, it's very easy to load petabytes of data into a warehouse or a data lake and then run transformations on the entire set. I would, because most of the vendors have actually seen this and have learned from it, look for vendors who actually help you govern so you don't make those, rookie mistakes of running up a bill of tens of thousands of dollars. So someone who can help you get started quickly, get results, doesn't charge a huge upfront fee, and also helps you manage cost. That would be my uh, three principles of actually how you actually choose a tool. So how can Hevo help you build your modern data platform? So assuming you picked your warehouse slash data lake already, Hevo can help you set up pipelines and load your warehouse from all your data sources. We support around 150 plus data sources. And then one of the biggest advantages we have is we can connect to your legacy applications, your databases, and read the logs. So instead of actually putting load on your database, we can asynchronously read your logs and replicate that data to your warehouse. And that would mean we are only replicating change data. So we are not, incurring high costs by loading the same, doing a full load every time. The advantages of going with Hevo is it's completely self-managed, right? And autonomous. So you set it up once, and Kate's going to show you that in a minute, how easy it is to set up, and it's 100% cloud. So you don't have to provision hardware, maintain software, upgrade. You don't have to get into that cycle, which got you into that mess that I was talking about with my customer still running Oracle 12c. Um, Secondly, we are a cost efficient tool, and we are always looking to optimize costs further. One, you only pay for what you use, and two, we can help you optimize your cost if not just Hevo pipeline costs, but also your warehouse costs. Finally, we are a real-time platform, so we are not running batch. So when we read from CDC logs, we can instantly detect a change and automatically replicate it to your warehouse and merge the data. And then we actually scale. So if a customer has massive scale, you're not on a shared infrastructure, we can actually provision reserved nodes for you so that it can scale to your requirements. And we can connect, like I said, it's 100% cloud-based with very secure protocols and things like API, transit gateways, VPNs. We'll be able to connect to your tried and tested, trusted by financial institutions and healthcare companies. Using these methods, we can connect to your on-premise data sources. And these are performant because we are able to get 5 to 10 minute latencies easily from these sources. So next, I'm going to hand it over to Cade to actually show you how Hevo can help you set up your warehouse, and more importantly, in a cost-efficient, 100% cloud way, no code, no configuration, no maintenance to actually help you maintain those pipelines and replicate thousands of tables, entire databases in just one click. Over to you, Cade.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Puneet. All right. All right, so we hopped over here to the Hevo UI, and the first thing I'm going to do is set up a source. I already have a source created here, and I'm going to add a new one. So to do that, I'll Click Create Pipeline. And as Puneet mentioned, we have over 150 pre-built pipelines ready for you to use and very simple to set up. So for this example, since we were talking about legacy architecture and technology, we'll use Oracle as a source. So one of the great things about Hevo is I don't have to, if I already have a source for this set up, I can actually copy the configuration of an existing source here. I'm going to give this pipeline a name. And as Puneet was mentioning, this is all cloud hosted and the infrastructure is managed by Hevo. So I like to explain to our customers, we're the active partner in our relationship with our customers. We're the ones who are making sure that the lights are on. We're doing upgrades to drivers, APIs, all that fun stuff, all the tedious things that make building and maintaining your own pipelines very cumbersome and make those pipelines brittle. You don't have to worry about that. You configure your pipelines, initial configuration, and from there, Hevo takes care of the rest. So I'll add my password here. And over on the right, we'll actually walk you through step by step any setup that is required on the source side. This will be the same for the destination. I'll show you the Snowflake instance, and I'm going to load this to here in a bit. But we walk you through step by step. A lot of times, these configurations will already be set up if you're using archive log or redo logs for Hevo, or not for Hevo, for on your Oracle instance for your own operations, then this stuff's already set up and ready to go. But from a Hevo standpoint, we'll just need read access to the tables that you actually want to replicate and the logs to capture those incremental changes. So once I have my host, port, and user all set up here, I can select an ingestion mode. So a recommended mode, as Puneet was mentioning, is to do capture those incremental changes from reading from the logs. In the case of Oracle, that's going to be the redo logs. So this allows us to do an initial historical sync of all the data, and then we're just capturing the changes, anything that's new or different from the logs. So this is more efficient from a time perspective, where we don't have to go back to the table level and sort through. Oracle's usually a behemoth of a database. There's tons of data in there. We don't have to go through sort tables, see what changed. And it also allows us to have a very light impact on the database. We're just reading from those logs, so we don't have to go back and read data from the table level. So while we're doing that historical sync, we're also capturing those incremental changes as well and making sure that the most recent record, most recent version of that data is persisted to the warehouse. So that's the recommended option here, doing log-based replication. We also offer table-based replication and custom SQL. So there might be instances where maybe this is hosted by, the database is hosted by a third party. This is really common with things like SQL Server. Maybe they don't have, they're not going to allow you to enable logs or get access to the logging mechanism that Hevo would use to capture those changes. We can still support those tables and sync that data, but it would use one of these other replication modes that we have available here. As far as connecting to the database, again, just building on what Puneet was saying, we understand that we are cloud hosted, but your database might not be cloud hosted. It could still be an on-premise instance or something that's locked down within your VPC. We still support ways to securely connect to those sources and extract that data. So first and foremost, you can whitelist our IPs right here. This is an AWS instance, just whitelisting those on the security groups. We also support SSH, reverse SSH, site-to-site VPN tunnels, private link, and VPC pairing. A lot of different secure connection methods to meet your needs and ensure that we're able to access that data. A few other options here that I can select for Oracle is redo log, some advanced settings for the redo logs. So we have one for pull interval, query fetch size. You can limit the amount of data you want us to pull per fetch every time we're actually querying for data, and long transaction window. So how far back you want us to be able to look after transactions have occurred. And again, a few other options here, loading all schemas, use online catalog, and if you want us to only read archive log data only or not, you can configure that for Oracle instances as well. And finally, a few other options again, specific to Hevo here with the database. Load all historical data. You do have the option to skip the historical sync if you don't want to. If you just want us to start reading data from the logs from that point in time, you do have that option. Merging tables, if you have different schemas that you're replicating with very similar tables, maybe you have different schemas for different customers or lines of business, we can optionally merge those tables together in the destination or keep them separate. And the ability to automatically include new tables as they're added in the source, or to not. So if you want to have the control over determining, hey, do I want to bring this table over or not, Hevo gives you that option as well. So once I have everything set here, I'm going to test this connection. Everything looks good. I'll continue. I was going to start pulling the objects from the source Oracle database that I'm connected to here. And here you see I have 3 tables. I can select and deselect what tables I actually want to end up bringing over. For this case, I'll just bring over all 3 of those. Now I'm going to select a warehouse. So I already have Snowflake configured as my destination. So I'll just select the Snowflake instance. And finally, I can add a destination prefix to this table depending on the nomenclature, how you have your data architected for Snowflake in your use case in your downstream modeling or BI jobs. You can add a optional destination prefix here. And finally, auto mapping. So this is a feature where Hevo automatically goes through and maps all of your tables and columns to the appropriate data type in the destination. And for the vast majority of use cases, it's exactly what you want. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to go through and tediously map every single column for every table in an Oracle instance or Salesforce or anything like that. Does not sound like a very fun activity for me. But you do have that option in here. Let's say you do have a specific use case. You wanted to map certain columns a certain way in the destination. This is something you don't want to have to cast in your downstream modeling in BI layer. You can have Hevo, you can turn off auto mapping for specific objects and allow Hevo to, allow you to go in and map those tables as you see fit. For this use case, we'll leave auto mapping on and click continue. Now Hevo's going to start pulling over this data. We also mentioned streaming data. So what I just did there is turn this pipeline into a streaming pipeline. So we're going to be reading logs in real time from the source side as changes occur and as we're capturing and pulling that data from the source system, processing it through our platform, and then loading it to the destination. So while that's getting set up, I'll switch over to this pipeline here that's already been running. You can see on the dashboard, we have a few stats. You can see our position from where we're at reading through the redo logs, and then some ingestion stats about how many records we've extracted and loaded, and then a breakdown of what was historical sync. So Hevo does not charge you for historical syncs on data. The only thing that would count as usage, and we are a usage-based platform, is anything that occurs after that. So any inserts, updates to data after that initial historical sync. Again, I can change the time window on this from the last 2 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, and up to the last 30 days. So again, helpful dashboard here to see some quick stats on that. I can also go back into this platform if I ever needed to, go edit any of those changes, or make any changes. If you change something with the configuration, maybe you updated the SSH host that this is connecting to, you can always come back in and update the configuration here. Over here on the right, or on the left, I'm sorry, is the schema mapper option. Again, this is that ability to come in. You can turn off auto mapping for any of these specific objects if you wanted to map something a certain way. That's up to you. Again, in the vast majority of use cases with our customers, they're going to want to have that automatically mapped and no one have to go through that tedious process. But that flexibility is built into the platform if you need that. We also have a load status. This is just some quick stats on the replication status of the data and where we're at with that. You can also see any latency in the platform. And finally, inactivity logs. This is great for compliance. You can also see what's going on, who made any changes, what were any updates to any of this data, this pipeline that you have configured. So I'll hop over here to the destination. Again, like I said, I already have Snowflake set up, but the configuration is very similar to what we did there with the source side on Oracle. I'll give this a destination name, put in my Snowflake host, and we give you a pre-filled script over here on the right. Walks you through step by step. It's a simple script that you'll run in Snowflake to get everything provisioned and ready to go for Hevo to start working. Now, if I hop over to Snowflake, you can see here's where I have that script. I executed that, and here's what, just copy these different variables that I set there and move that over to, port that over to Hevo. And here's the data. Here's the Oracle data that we set up, and it's loaded into the destination. Yeah, pretty straightforward. So it's really that easy to get up and running. We provide you step-by-step how to set up everything from the source side to the destination side, all point-and-click stuff, and it can be done in just a few minutes. So yeah, there's a high-level overview and run-through of setting up a Oracle database and syncing some data over to Snowflake.